going down the road and lost control of the vehicle and rolled it, and I got ejected out of the vehicle and rolled it into a tree. She ended up staying in the vehicle, and I woke up on the ground right next to it and tried talking to her, telling her that it was okay, and I started asking why. I kept saying why, and then the ambulance got there and they pulled me away, and I told them, don't worry about me, worry about her. Walked away with a bruised knee, bruised shoulder, stitches in my foot, stitches in my side, and that's where I found out that she didn't make it out of the vehicle alive. Growing up, my parents were alcoholics, so I ended up trying to find a way to escape everything, and I started smoking marijuana with friends when I was 13. That ended up leading into alcohol, which I would steal from my parents, to be this guy that had everything. I wanted more friends. I would try to have everything that they would want, and then that very slowly turned into me. About 15 years old, I ended up selling marijuana so I can have all these friends. Slowly but surely, those friends would fade away. They were getting into prescription pills. So I would eventually find a way to get my hands on prescription pills, and that's when I started meeting these people that I would have never thought I would meet. At this time, I was actually losing all the friends that I really needed and getting these friends that just cared about their fix. They just wanted their drug, so they would just use me. And that slowly turned into selling heroin. That's when I went downhill. One day I was selling prescription pills to a friend, and he ended up bringing Jennifer along, and right when I saw her, I knew that she was the one. She had big, beautiful brown eyes. She was this caring girl that just loved life. We ended up getting married. We used prescription pills the whole time we were together, coke and meth all the time. My sister-in-law was shot up with heroin by two guys, and she ended up ODing. And the guys took advantage of her, and the guys just left her there. When we found that out, everything just went downhill. Jennifer ended up losing her job, quitting her job. She just laid in the bed every day. We didn't answer any phone calls for days. It ended up being 3 days, and then my father-in-law came in the house and saw our house as a wreck. And he pulled me out of bed and picked up our wedding picture and said that if I have to lose another daughter to drugs or alcohol again, I'm going to come after you with everything I have. And that's when we decided to go to rehab for the first time. When I got out of the 28-day program, I immediately relapsed, and I was using behind her back the whole time she was out of rehab. We were at her mom's for her birthday, having dinner. When we left, we decided to go to our friend's house. When we get over there, we started drinking, started laughing, joking around. She ended up falling asleep on the couch, and me and him just stayed up and kept drinking. It was really about 2 o'clock in the morning. I decided to go home because I wanted to sleep in my own bed, and I picked her up and put her in the vehicle. Started driving home. I was going down the road and lost control of the vehicle and rolled it into a tree. She ended up staying in the vehicle, and I woke up on the ground right next to it and looked up and noticed that I had completely destroyed the car. Tried to get into the vehicle, and I just sat there and I held her. Tried talking to her, telling her that it was okay, and I started asking why. I kept saying why, and then the ambulance got there and they pulled me away, and I told them, don't worry about me, worry about her. They still made me get into the ambulance and go to the hospital, which I was only there for 7 hours, and that's where I found out that she didn't make it out of the vehicle alive. Then I didn't do anything but lay in my bed for about 3 days straight. Thought everything was done, my life was over. I lost my best friend, the one that I loved the most. What brought me to No Longer Bound was at the funeral something hit me, and I knew that I needed to get help, either if I was going to go to jail or not. Like, I needed to do this for her. Didn't want her death to be in vain. She actually mentioned No Longer Bound the first time I went to rehab, and that's when No Longer Bound came to my mind, that's where I needed to go. The regeneration program, I decided to stay on for an extra 10 months to give back to the program, because I realized how much it's done for me, and if I can get it, somebody else can too. So I stayed on. About 3 months after I stayed, I ended up facing court. Going into court, my father-in-law, Melvin, Marcia, my mother-in-law, Jessica, only daughter left, was there to speak on my behalf. Stood up in front of the judge and telling the judge that they don't want me to serve prison, that they've seen a changed man. Them standing up there telling the judge that was very comforting to me. It was amazing that they're asking for grace for what I've done. They ended up giving me 10 years felony probation and 1,500 hours of community service, which the community service is for me to go and tell my story, that my story will actually help someone else before they start drinking and driving, that they'll be able to think before they act. I would say that it's not over. Don't give up yet. That there is hope. That just reach out to somebody, talk to them about it, let somebody know what you're going through. They're going to be there to open their arms for you. I am Michael, and I'm no longer bound.